the economy is very weak. The economy is in a year-long recession in scenario 2. We're starting to see some impacts in the real data. You can see it in the latest employment data. You can see it in the housing data. And I expect you're going to see more in the releases to come.
Just look at this. Oh, the carbon tax is gone, but we don't adjust our figures. We adjust everything else in the CPI. But when it comes to this, oh, we'll just let that bring down inflation. Yeah, hell. I mean, it's just so corrupt. You can just so obviously see it. The Bank of Canada is losing their grip on inflation, and not only that, the housing market is set to get a lot worse, especially in the places that boomed, because you're seeing rents that are continuing to go down here. So it's crazy what's going on. We had a CPI print that came out last week, which we'll get into in a bit. But first of all, I just want to quickly cover this and contrast it with what we saw with manufacturing jobs, because it's absolutely insane. In case you missed it, we saw 3.9% of Ontario manufacturing jobs gone, vanished in a single month. So that goes to show just how quickly and how volatile the job market really is right now. But let's get into what the Bank of Canada is possibly going to be doing. I mean, I don't really give a shit about the Bank of Canada, but everybody seems to care because obviously they're debt slaves. They're slaves to their debt, and they need those interest rates to come down. And the whole Canadian economy depends on housing, which is balanced on interest rates, or at least the mainstream media wants you to think that way. We know it's not the case on this channel. So the decline was due almost entirely to the 12.7% drop in energy prices. And what they're referring to there is the decline in the CPI. So if we go over here, you can see that April 2025 saw a decline in the CPI. But if you go over and look at rent inflation, it's still elevated but coming down. You're beginning to see this is a lagging indicator, remember. And if you look at core inflation, extremely high. And that's what Better Dwelling is saying here. The Bank of Canada is in a tough spot right now because, as you can see on this chart, you've got core inflation that's going up and you've got the CPI that's going down. I mean, they're both the CPI. I mean, the fact that this happened right here, it just goes to show that these numbers, they cannot be trusted. They just can't be. That's why it is a CPI. And Ontario losing 3.9% of its manufacturing industry in a single month is just absolutely insane. And then you've got average asking rents down annually for the 7th straight month at $2,127. So that means, again, the basis for investing in housing is completely out the window here. The national average asking rent in April was down year over year for the 7th straight month at $2,127, down 2.8% year over year. But this is the interesting part. So Ontario recorded the largest rent decline in April, down 2.7% year over year, followed by Alberta, down 1.8% year over year. Now, you've got to remember that Alberta has been the place where rents have been skyrocketing. And why was the housing market skyrocketing? If rents are going up, why was the housing market going up? I mean, you don't have to be very smart to put two and two together and work it out. That's exactly why housing prices were going up. It was not because loads of people were moving to Calgary from Ontario, like the real estate agents wanted to tell you. Oh, everyone's moving here. I just dealt with somebody who moved from Ontario. But the most people who were entering the housing market were investors. And now you're seeing the same thing happen in Quebec as well. Again, the same thing has been happening in Quebec as in Alberta. So very interesting that you've now got rents on the decline, because that is going to completely just wallop and investors, and that's going to mean that soon enough prices will be on the decline. In fact, they're already on the decline in places like Calgary, and this is a sign of the times. I saw Danielle Foch put this on X. Is your Toronto condo worth less than your mortgage? What to do if you're underwater? And yeah, it's totally true when you think about it. Seeing articles like this, what sort of housing market are we in right now? It's not just, oh, it's a little decline, it's just gone down a little bit. I mean, just go back to sleep. No, it's crashing, and that's what people need to get through their thick skulls. These people, mainly homeowners, who are just completely in denial, but they'll be capitulating soon because the labor market is going to show them the door, and it's not going to be pretty because that's already happening. If you look at the labor, I mean, just take a look at this. This is just complete insanity. People trying to get a job in Canada, and there's just numerous TikTok videos, just anybody who's trying to get into the labor market, who's trying to get a job, who's unemployed. It's just so hard to get that next job. I mean, it's not so bad if you lose your job and it's easy to get another job, but if you can't get one, that's where really things start to go wrong because you fall behind on payments and things get worse and worse and worse. And the fiscal capacity, Melissa put this on X, and I thought it's interesting because what you got to think about is, how does Canada have the fiscal capacity? And we've got this clown in charge right now, which can't even put a budget together. But besides that, if he can't put a budget together, and you've got the government debt burden that has been the largest increase in the G7 has been in Canada, where's the fiscal capacity for all this massive stimulus bigger than the pandemic? I mean, it's just not there. It's just not gonna happen. And that's what people won't realize until it's too late. I mean, yeah, you're gonna see stimulus and you're gonna see different things like that, but it's not going to be on the scale, and it's not going to have the same effect as in 2020 and 2021. That wasn't a financial event. You have to remember that. And everything started before the real economic implications actually arose. They were actually coming after the fact when they'd done the stimulus, whereas now it's the total opposite. Everything is happening before they do the stimulus. Like the economy, the wheels came off in Canada in 2022. I mean, nobody is it on this channel. We know Canada has been in a recession. I don't give a if the government is saying, oh, we're in a recession now, and they tell you that 12 months later that you're in a recession right now. Who gives a fuck what the government says? I mean, the government is trying to mislead you almost constantly. Just look at this. Oh, the carbon tax is gone, but we don't adjust our figures. We adjust everything else in the CPI, but when it comes to this, oh, we'll just let that bring down inflation. Yeah, hell. I mean, it's just so corrupt. You can just so obviously see it, but so many people can't. And that's what happened to core inflation there. The Bank of Canada will have to see what they do. And then you've got the actual inflation rate, like I said, that's on the decline there. Rent inflation lags, remember, but it has been coming down. So that's interesting. The unemployment rate, 6.9%, will have a new report that's coming out in a few weeks. The youth unemployment rate is just showing no hope for young Canadians. The youth unemployment rate being at 14.1%, that's absolutely insane. That is really high. And it's no wonder when you then go and look at stuff like this, all these people who are just waiting to try and get like a couple of entry-level jobs. I mean, they're not really entry-level though, let's be honest. These are government jobs, and that's probably why they are queuing so hard at the door and lining up for hours on end, because a government job is just where it's at in Canada, because the government is the only one paying the money, but people don't realize how it all works. Like the government, they don't contribute, they take away from productivity in Canada. They make investment worse into Canada because less and less people want to invest in a country where there's constantly more red tape, more regulations, more taxes to fund this ever big entity that is expanding and taking over the economy, because it's just become so bloated. The government is really a parasite in Canada, and it's just attached itself to all the average working people. Little do they realize that they're subject to this disease. And then again, you're seeing, looking like for the summer here, that job postings are going to be scarce. So it's no wonder you're seeing things happen like in the labor market. So you've got to think, how is that going to filter through into the rental market further? And how is that going to influence investors' appetite to buy houses in Canada as well? I mean, again, you're seeing more and more capital flight, especially the higher net worth individuals that are looking to leave and get out of Canada. I mean, look at this article. A third of conservative millionaires now say they're more likely to leave Canada now. So again, this is just increasing. I would join my mail list if you want to join the event that I'm going to be doing, which is about offshore finance and different things like that. Some things that people really need to know, and diversification, I believe, is just the best thing that you can have. So more and more, 34% of conservative voting millionaires in Canada are more likely to leave the country now than they were during the last election in 2021, compared to 23% of liberal voting millionaires. So they know who's going to be targeted here. Are they going to the right places? Probably not. They're probably just going to the mainstream Western countries, the United States, the UK. I mean, in certain circumstances, the United States works for people, especially if you're high skilled, because the amount of money that you can earn there is unparalleled to other places. But if you've got a skill set or a business and you don't have to be in any of these Western countries, why the fuck in them? I mean, that is one question that you have to ask. I saw Jordan Peterson is moving to the United States, but why? Why isn't he moving to the Cayman Islands or somewhere like that? Like, it's just so ridiculous. But anyways, so yeah, you're just seeing more and more downward pressure here on the economy, and it doesn't look good as more and more millionaires are rushing to exit as well. So anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, I'd highly recommend that you check out this video here. And then if you're looking for a VPN, also want to protect your privacy and help out the channel, then use the VPN that we use, and the link is in the description below, ExpressVPN. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.